go, go, go! Go!
We lost Rick. Rick's supposed to be introducing everybody, and we can't see Rick.
No, there he is.
There he is.
All right, we're here. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Sawmill and Forestry Roundtable. This is number 19. It's hard to believe we've had 19 shows so far. I see Sawbucks has joined us. I see John from the UK has joined us. Good morning, John. This month, we're going to be talking about the perils of mobile milling and what we can do to get around the perils of mobile milling. And we have a special guest, Kevin Bales. And Kevin, you want to tell us about yourself and what you do?
Oh, I guess I'll kind of start from the beginning. I bought a sawmill, a Wood-Mizer sawmill about 15 years ago, and I started dumping trees out in my own pasture and realized I had to clean up the mess when I was done. And I thought, man, I don't want to do that. So I put an ad on Craigslist and for mobile milling, and people started calling me, and I thought, man, this is great. I can go to other people's house and I can leave with a pocket full of money, make a big mess and leave with a pocket full of money. And so that kind of grew, and I ended up moving from Oregon over to North Idaho 7 years ago. And during COVID, the sawmill just absolutely took off, and I was running mobile milling full time for about 3 years. And I was booked out anywhere from a month and a half to 3 months, all summer, and life was good. And then here about 3 years ago, things just kind of fell off a cliff and slowed down, and I started running some excavation equipment and doing more excavation work and mobile milling, and I kept that up for about 2 years. And then last year, it just got to be too much trouble to switch the truck back and forth from the sawmill to the excavation work. And so I decided to park the sawmill and just stationary and do mobile milling here, or stationary milling here at my house. So now people bring me logs, or I just source the logs, which that can be challenging in itself, getting decent logs around here. So
yeah, we all understand that. So what would you attribute the dying off the mobile milling? Is there any particular thing you could put your thumb on, or?
I have a couple of theories.
I didn't bring my earbuds.
One is, during COVID, everybody and their dog ordered a sawmill, and so there's a lot more mills out there, and people got these new shiny mills sitting in the driveway trying to figure out how to make a payment on them, so they, they're out there cutting for their neighbor and everything, and probably not charging enough for their services, and then a lot of that free COVID money dried up, and so people are kind of holding on to their money a little tighter than what we're doing that time.
That's kind of how it went down here too. Everybody on every street corner had sawmills down this way.
Yeah, same up here. Yep.
Well, we have Amish that live 12, 13 miles away from us, and it seems like every other Amish family has a sawmill, so we really have contended with that since day one. But we were able to get around it. We're not doing too bad. But yeah, I could see where that could have caused a problem. And you're right, people undercharge to get the business for one thing, and they undervalue their labor for another.
Yeah.
So you do custom sawing now when you can.
Yeah, yeah, and I typically do that in the evenings, or if I have a day between excavation jobs or something like that, I'll catch up orders. I don't do a lot these days. Even that's slowed down quite a bit. There's a couple guys to the north of me that have been here for a long time, and they have a lot of the business. They they kick them my way too. They're pretty gracious about that. You know, when if they've got somebody calls in and they don't have the wood for the project that they're asking for, they'll send them my way, and vice versa. We pick a lot of business back and forth to each other, and it's pretty nice.
So what have you done? What have you done to fill in the gaps? Loss of
Um,
income.
well, when I quit my day job to go out and run the sawmill, I bought a skid steer, and I already had an excavator, a mini excavator for doing work around my place, and I had a little 5-yard dump truck. So one of the local realtors started using me for doing septic test holes, which that turns into doing septic systems, which turns into doing the home sites and putting names through the access roads and lane clearing. So, and that's just really taken off. I've since bought a dozer and upgraded the excavator. Bought a new little bigger excavator last 2 years ago, yes, year and a half ago. So, but that's been keeping me pretty busy. Now it's almost when somebody calls for a sawmill job, it's sometimes it's almost it feels like it's more trouble than it's worth.
Yeah.
But there's the money's there. If I had a consistent stream of the business, I make decent money when I run the mill. But there's just not I'm just not getting enough business, and I'm about 30 miles south of Coeur d'Alene, and which is the biggest town around me.
Okay.
And there's only 1,200 people in our town, and so there's the business is pretty scattered out.
Yeah,
So,
I can
so everything
that.
would be word of mouth then, Kevin, that you do with the mobile milling?
Yeah, I have a website, but I really don't get a lot of hits on the website. Most of what I do is all word of mouth. I mean, it's when I was hot and heavy in the mobile milling and doing it on a regular basis, I had an ad in the local paper in the Coeur d'Alene Press,
Mm-hmm.
and that generated a lot of business for about 2.5 years. But then it got dried up, and I carried the ad for another year after it dried up, and it was done. It ran its course.
Well, I imagine there's not a whole lot of repeat business from mobile milling though, either from the same customer, right?
Actually, I did have a lot of
You did.
not a lot, but I had a substantial amount of people that would have me come back. Matter of fact, I got a customer that's a pilot for Alaska Airlines, and he's building a house. And I milled for him 3 times, and then here about 2 weeks ago, he went out and bought an LT40 that somebody COVID bought it. It had like I don't remember 70 hours on it, and it was 2 years old and had 70 hours on it.
That's it.
Yeah, so
Wow.
Yep. They're out there.
I have a lot of return customers also usually, and they'll kind of spread the word to people that they know. And I think my biggest advertisement angle has been Facebook.
okay.
You
Same here.
Yeah, Facebook has been good to us.
and that's
It's
just
hard. It's hard to beat that free
stationary.
advertisement on Facebook.
It sure
That's
is.
Now,
true.
I will say, we don't mobile mill anymore because it don't fit our business model. But
Yeah.
in our area, I got 2 or 3 guys that's all they do. They mobile mill at one of them mills on his house too, but they're dedicated mobile milling. And there's some big jobs come around. One of my guys, 30 minutes away from here, he last time I talked to him, he's on a job that he expected to be there for 2 or 3 months. You know,
Well,
and one of the other smaller guys, they brought some blades the other day and dropped off. They were on a job. They thought they'd get a month's worth of work out of them, 2 or 3 days a week for the next, several weeks. I never hit a big job like that. Most of ours were 1-day top jobs, in and out. And if you go to mobile mill, it's hard to be good at it and work a regular job. You need more than 1 day a week to go mobile milling. And that's all we had because I was working a full-time job was there, Saturdays. And if it was a big job, we might, if I could do a half day Friday, might slip in there and start Friday and finish Saturday. But it's just like running a sawmill business. We need to be here 5-6 days a week. If you're going to mobile mill, you need to be more available more days than just Saturday.
yeah.
I've only done a couple mobile milling jobs, and I was fortunate enough. 2 of those were pretty big. One I cut right at 20,000 board feet, and another one I cut 10,000 board feet. And ironically, it was all one buys. Both people wanted all one buys. One of them was building a horse barn, exterior wood, interior that was poplar and pine. And another guy cleaned a lot off. He actually had an RV park, and he said, "I don't know exactly where I'm gonna use it during this update, but I don't want to throw the trees away. I'll cut them. You stack them."
Well, I get a lot of business from mobile millers because that's all they do. They can't do anything else. And they'll go out to a customer and they say, "Well, I want to turn it into tongue and groove V-groove like our ceiling, or I want to do hardwood flooring." And they'll call me, "Hey, what's this going to cost?" I said, "Well, it depends on how good or bad you saw."
Right.
Throw it right back on them, right?
Well, now you brought up a point there going by board footage. When I first started, I charged the board footage, and the customer was supposed to pull and stack boards. Well, he didn't have any incentive to be there pulling and stacking boards because I was working by the board footage. And so every time I turned around and needed him to do something, he was off watering the flowers and playing with his dog, and I was over there working my guts out. I was running a manual mill at the time, and
you got to pick a number that you can make money at, whether you saw 500 feet or 3,000 feet. We've done jobs where we barely got 800,000 feet done that day because they weren't prepared. They didn't have their logs in place. We were having to do a lot of extra work. And we saw for one guy, we probably saw 10,000 board feet one day because all he wanted was his round logs turned into square logs.
I've charged by the board foot for that biggest job. And every log I would cut, I'd write down exactly what that log was. So that's the only way to keep track of it. Every log, because it was just squared up and then cut one buys. And then we would just throw it to the side, and then he would stack it later that night. So I just write down everything, figured up at the end of the day. But since that job, when I do one, it's an hourly thing. When I get there, the mill fires up, that time starts, and when I shut the mill off, time ends.
Yeah, and that's what I did too. I switched to the hourly, but I would occasionally I would calculate the board footage at the end of the day just to see where I was hourly, and I was always 30%,
pretty close.
About 30% less on the hourly than I would have made on the board foot.
Right.
Really?
So
that's interesting.
But I
try milling up here in the mountains. We've done jobs up on top of the mountain to where go down the guy's driveway and the logs are on the left side and there's a gully behind it, and we're milling on the right side and there's a cliff on that side.
Yep.
There ain't no way to do that but by the hour.
Well, really, the cutoffs are easy to get rid of, right?
If I took a slab off the mill, I could have sent it 7,500 feet down the hill. Just
watch them fly.
Well, that was another reason why I quit mobile milling. Is just people didn't listen to you. I mean, when I was on the phone with them, I had a word for word verbatim list that I went through every time with every customer. and what I expected and what I needed them to do. And I'd show up, and I mean, it was.
Oh yeah, I mean, we all got horror
everything-
stories. I remember one of the first jobs him and I done early on. Took a job down, 30 minutes away in Spartanburg. Didn't go look at it. Told the guy I needed all the logs up in a pile because we wasn't taking no piece of equipment. Got down there and they're scattered all around the yard. And we ended up taking my truck and a chain and dragging them up to the mill and then rolling them on and cutting them. Now we managed and we made money because we charged by the hour, but he didn't get near as much wood saw as he could have.
Yep. But that was the thing when I switched to hourly. And people ask me, well, how much can you cut? And it's like, well, that depends on how fast you keep the boards out of my way. And
yeah, if you got a tractor and you'll bring me the logs, lay them right there, and you'll take care of the boards and the slabs, I can make a pile of wood in 8 hours.
Yeah.
But if I got a slab, if I got an off-bare slabs and I got an off-bare boards and I got to find you to get them out of the way, then it's just going to take more time.
Yeah.
I always tell them I can cut more than you can buy for my price per hour.
And that's a fact. I mean, and it's easy.
Yeah. And another thing, since we're on the money aspect of things, a lot of they have to realize too, do they have equipment to handle logs? I mean, if you got to bring a tractor, then you got to haul your sawmill, drop it off, go back and get the tractor,
Definitely,
or whatever, and come back. And then, I mean, that's a whole separate charge on top of everything else.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it can be a headache.
Or get you 10 strong guys to pull the board off every time I run the mill by.
And then, most of my jobs were hour and a half away from my house, and so
I charge mileage one way.
I charged hourly one way.
Yeah, hourly one way. Just if they took an hour to get there, they got 7 hours of sawing, and we loaded the mill up. And we headed to the house.
Oh no, I did the hour travel time, and then I milled for 8 hours, and then went home. But if I needed to bring the skid steer, that was an extra extra hour and a half there and back, and to get the mill and the skid steer, and then at the end of the day, I had to do the round trip again, and that got old.
Yeah.
Not only that, but you got to carry your gas, oil, blade, extra bands. I mean, I imagine that's a headache in itself, right, Kevin?
No, I mean, I had a pretty good system there. I had my truck set up pretty good. For my bands, I had 2 boxes that I made out of plywood, and they laid flat in the back of my truck, and then that held my 2 gas cans on either side, and I run diesel for my drip, so I had 1 can for diesel, and I had 5-gallon bucket with some like my ATF and just a few things in it, odds and ends, and my PVs fit right next to my fuel tank, and it was.
Now, did you sharpen your own?
You always
blades?
had more time invested than you think. If you're leaving early tomorrow morning, today you got the mill loaded up, got all your equipment loaded up. You spent an hour getting all things gathered up to go milling. You left and went and milled. Well, when you come home, we didn't put our mill up. We blew our mill off, cleaned it up, greased it up, unloaded all the tools from the truck, then put it back in the shed. You got an hour on both ends, loading and unloading.
Yeah, I never had to unload because my job tomorrow was the same thing. So everything just stayed in my truck, and I just have to get gas on the way. And I live out in the middle of nowhere, so I wasn't worried about that like that.
It's a good way to start sawmilling. Nowadays, I get customers occasionally still call me. I need mobile milling. I said, well, I don't do that. I said, first thing I asked them, I said, are you taking the trees down or are you hiring a tree man? And most of them will say, I got so-and-so tree guy taking it down. I said, well, he'll be there with a skid steer and a dump truck. Just have him bring it to my place, and I'll cut them cheaper for you by the board foot than I will come to mobile mill, and I don't mobile mill, but it will still be cheaper by the board foot, and he's not going to charge you that much to transport them because he's there already.
Yep.
All right, this give me an opportunity, guys, to welcome the people that's coming in. If any of you guys got a question for anybody on the panel here, shoot it out there. Right now, we're talking about mobile milling. We have Kevin Bales with us as a guest. And Kevin started out mobile milling, and the business died off. So we're kind of talking about what happened to the business and why mobile milling has died out, and things that he's doing to fill in the gaps to keep an income coming in. So if anybody has any questions for anybody, throw them on out there, and we'll put them up on the board, and we'll try to answer them. All right, guys, go ahead.
I got one for you, Kevin, and I do it. If you was to go on a mobile mill site, would you charge a setup fee when you got there?
I did not. I I got so efficient at setting up, as long as I didn't have to do anything really crazy, by the time I back up and unhook from the mill, and within 15 minutes I was making sawdust. So
Well, I mean that's probably on the aspect too of I guess being how far, since you do charge from the time you leave the house. I guess I mean that would cover the setup fee, I guess, so to speak.
yeah, because that was a flat fee out to an hour,
Right.
and so if I was inside of an hour, I was charging the same as if I was, you know, driving an hour. So,
Right.
so
Right.
that kind of balanced out for my setup, I guess.
Yeah. That's kind of the same. That's kind of the same way I would do it too.
If somebody didn't have their logs all in one place or what have you, and I had to break the mill down and move it, then I did charge a setup or a relocation fee.
Right.
It was the same as my travel time. So
That's right.
How many times did you get to somebody's place and you couldn't find a flat spot? And you had to take a shovel and make one.
oh geez. Somewhere I got pictures where I was on a hillside and
Whose phone is that?
I didn't even put my tail end jack down. It was the tail of the mill was actually touching the ground,
Yeah.
and the front of the mill was probably close to 5 feet off the ground. We had it all blocked up, and
Yeah, you start out sawing up here and you end up at the end.
yeah, it was horrible. And
I've done
fortunately,
that. Working on the side of a hill like this, and the only way you can set up is across this way. And we carried some leveling blocks, and when I got the mill pretty close to where I wanted, I'd just pull up a foot and stick them blocks in there and drive the wheels up on it to get it somewhat level. If I
yeah,
can get it stable and hopefully get it tilted back to the backstops, we sawing.
yeah. I never drove away from a job without milling, but there was a couple times where I wanted to really bad. One of my last mobile jobs was that way. The guy talked about how big of a flat spot he had, and it was all good. And I showed up, and the flat spot was about 30 by 40, and I drive a Dodge Dually, so that takes up 26 feet.
Yep.
So I ended up driving up on the side hill of his cut bank beside his shop just to get the mill in the position where we could actually mill. And I would have drove away that day, but I had hired a kid to come pull boards, and he was committed to 2 days of pulling boards for me, and so I couldn't do that to him. So I stuck it out, but I was spitting nails for 2 days.
Oh, yeah, we've done a many of them over the years before we quit, and I enjoyed it, but I like meeting people, and it's just a good excuse to go somewhere different. And some of the customers I milled 4 years ago are still customers today.
Yeah, and that was the aspect I liked about the mobile milling, was meeting the people. 95% of them were enjoyable to be around, and I have several that are going to be lifelong friends. That, like that Alaska Airlines pilot I was talking about. Him and I will be friends for the rest of our days.
I have offered too when say it's somebody you don't want to, if they don't have many logs and they don't have a way to haul, it's easier for you to offer a price to go pick them logs up at their place and bring them back, and maybe they come get the lumber later. I've offered that.
I've thought about that, but it's right now the excavation business is so busy that I don't have time to and there again, I'd have to take 2 trips. I'd have to take my skid steer.
That's
load
why
up
you
the
have tree friends, tree guys as buddies. I got 2 or 3 I can call. A couple graders. If customer, they're gonna get it here, but they don't have a way. I'm here. Call this guy, call this guy, or call this guy. That's what they do. They got dump trucks, they got trailers, they got equipment. If they're sitting at home and not making no money, so they'll come and haul your logs gladly.
Well, the one tree guy we have locally here, he has his own mill, so and then he also does firewood processing. So he called me up one day and he said, "Hey Kevin, I got some logs that I need to get rid of. You want to buy them?" And he said, "Well, what are they?" And he said, "Oh, they're ponderosa pine. It's really nice logs. They're sitting up there at the top of the hill on Boswell. You want to go look at them?" He said, "I'd take $300 for them." Shoot, I went and looked at them. They weren't worth $3.
Yeah.
And then you look across the field, and he had loads, log truck loads.
Don't feel bad. I got a tree guy that used to run a sawmill, and he'll bring me stuff every now and then. And I'm like, "What are you dropping that crap off for? You wouldn't put that on your mill. Why you want me to saw it?"
Yeah. And I've talked to some of the tree guys up in like Coeur d'Alene and down south in Moscow, and they just don't seem to be interested in working with me. So, and then the ones that do, they want finished board prices out of their wood, and so we don't have much for hardwoods around here. It's all softwood. In the towns, you run into some black walnut and some maple and stuff like that. But everybody thinks it's. We've all seen the little video on YouTube, highly valuable black walnut tree, and
That's why I don't buy it. I'm not paying $5-6 a board foot on the log. I have to cut it. I have to sit on it for a year, cut it, dry it, process it, and then try to get $12-15 a board foot. I'm not going to do it.
I've tried to explain that to some people too. They call and say, "I got these trees right here. They're this much." I said, "Without this sawmill, it's a log.
Exactly. It's a yard ornament.
It's a dead tree. You're sitting on the ground."
That's about 1/3 of what you want.
A buddy of mine told me his grandpa told him while he was growing up. He said, "Equipment makes money."
Yep.
Yeah.
It's equipment.
Yeah, and that's all my excavation equipment. Well, I bought the little dozer, little John Deere 350. I bought it so I could log my own place, and I haven't done any of that. I haven't logged with it. Maybe a load of logs randomly, but it's made its money pushing dirt.
Yeah. There's more money in moving dirt than sawmilling if you got a business for it.
Yeah, yep.
You'll have a lot more invested, but there's a lot more cash flow in grading, getting lots ready to build a house, stuff like that. But I'm not in that line of work. I'm in the sawmilling business.
Yeah.
And I don't have $2 million worth of debt hanging over my head either.
Yeah, and I don't either. I mean, most of my, except for the excavator, all my equipment's old.
Yeah.
But it's
So, Eric and Matthew, do you guys have a backup? I mean, lumber market crashes tomorrow. Do you have a backup, or is it just lumber now?
It's called a safe. Yeah.
So just savings? Okay.
If it gets that bad, I'll go get a license and do septic tanks with backhoes.
Yeah. I still carry my Class A CDL. Actually, I just went to the doctor a month or so back, kept my medical certificate.
Right.
So, I can go back to driving any day I want to. I just don't want to.
Right. No, that's what I'm asking, kind of.
Yeah, you always got to have a
Right.
in case. And I try to tell people that on our YouTube channel. By all means, try to be self-employed if you can, but you got to have a backup plan if this crap don't work. You may not have the personality for it. You may not have the business for it. You may not be able to withstand a year or two of waiting on the flow of money to come to you. You better have a backup plan and how you going to put food on the table and take care of your wife and kids.
Right.
Yeah, and my situation, when I started out, I was a shift millwright, so I was working 4 days on, 4 days off. And so I had plenty of time to run the mill on my days off. And then once I moved over here, and then the sawmill business took off, it actually crowded my day job out. So
That's same
I-
here. I stayed with a day job probably a year longer than I should have, working night and day, working third shift and working all day.
yeah,
And I don't regret it. But you got to be careful when you take that leap and you step away from a guaranteed paycheck. That I made good money for what I did, but to walk away from that, you better be ready.
yeah.
And I didn't have a
Guys-
mortgage. I didn't have a house payment. I didn't have 3 young kids. There's a whole different thing there.
All right, guys, we got a question up there. I will just go right around the room with this. So, how much should someone pay for a 10-foot cherry log? And I guess you'd probably need a little bit more dimensions on that, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, you got to find out if it's a base log or whether it's a second log. It's different grades, how big it is, whether it will fit for, go for veneer, or whether it's just a saw
I'll tell you
log.
what I'd pay. I tell you what I pay for it.
Go ahead.
Zero.
Nope.
Did
We don't buy cherry.
Did it come out of somebody's front yard or did it come out of an orchard?
It don't
That's a good
matter. I
question.
can cut that cherry log and make 20 boards. Half of those boards are going to be unsellable.
Cherry bust so bad.
It does.
Yeah, it's worse than sweet gum.
I love to saw it for customers, and I'll cut it and I'll dry it, and they'll take half of it home usable, and the other half they'll chop up and make cutting boards.
Yeah,
I-
a 10-inch.
Go
I
ahead.
agree. 10-inch cherry is. I'm not paying for a 10-inch cherry.
Well, I'd
You know.
I'd cut a 4-inch box out of the heart, so you really ain't got no cherry.
Right.
No.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
right. Nope, not paying for that at all. Not that I'm paying for any logs, but I'm definitely not paying for
I
any
have some
10-inch
very
cherry.
nice cherry slabs out there, and they're probably 16, 18 inches. I don't know. They're probably 20 on the biggest part of them, and they're checked real bad down the middle. A lot of the cherry I've used is fooling with these cutting boards. You can cut very small stuff out of it, and get that kind of stuff out of it.
The only way I've ever had any success with cherry is start with as big a log as possible and do a 4, 6, or even sometimes 8-inch heart box and throw that mess away. You get any heart in it, it's not going to dry good.
We made that mistake cutting them out on one time, and it looked like a banana when we came back out to get it.
Banana.
Just the whole heart popped out of it.
No, and that goes right along with, how much you're going to charge for cherry. That's got to be figured right into your price. You know what I mean? When somebody says that they want a cherry board, but they only want to pay pine prices, well, sorry. You know what I mean? I lost half of that log to checks and cracks and, you know what I mean, warping and everything else. You got to pay the price, for
That's-
cherry. It's
That's the exact reason we quit. I quit buying eastern red cedar because I'd cut it, dry it, and throw half of it away because of all the heart rot.
Yep, and that's the same with Western red cedar here. I about a year ago, I just made a decision. I'm not going to cut cedar anymore, and it's the same thing. You got the heart rot, and then you got woodpecker holes, you got the checking, you got the list goes on. And
Yeah, the last cedar I sold about half of it for market price, and I give him the other half to get it out of my barn and get it cleaned out.
yeah, I just and with the custom orders, it makes it hard because I've got limited space to put my sidwood that I'm not selling on the custom order. So you cut into a log, if you can't get the specified log or beam or board or beam out of it, then what do you do with it? It goes in the firewood pile. So
Right.
That's one of the hardest parts of having a sawmill is having enough storage for everything.
Yeah, you ain't kidding.
Yeah, that's our problem. We're out of storage space already and need about 100 by 100 just to have stuff to store.
Yeah, you want to make a deal with me? When I show you a stack of lumber, you tell me you want it all.
Yeah.
That's where you'll get a deal because I want it all gone.
Yep.
I don't need no leftovers. Had a customer call me wanting some spalted maple, and we just actually took some out that morning. I said, well, I got about 25 slabs. If you take them all, we'll talk. And they bought them all.
We got a video
So-
coming out about that next week. Yep.
It depends. It depends on the area and what cherry will bring. And in our area right now, looking at a stumpage report, cherry's averaging about 25 cents a board foot, and that's for a good saw log. Now he said there's a crotch at the end of this log. You'd have to cut that crotch off, and that would bring it down to an 8-foot log. And then you would have to see what the end of the wood looks like. And it came out of the yard next to a garage, so it's probably got steel in it. So that log is basically worthless to anybody unless they're sawing it for themselves to resell.
Correct.
Well, I don't want people to get the wrong idea if you're watching this. Wood does have value, but what I can sell here versus what Neil can sell and what these other guys can sell differs.
Yeah, it's
You
a
know,
big
if I can get walnut at a reasonable price, I don't mind having it and selling it because it does move pretty quick. Or if I have a commercial customer that I can supply a couple thousand board feet to every month, I would pay up to bring it in. But for me to
Right.
buy it, set it on a year, saw it, dry it, and have it sitting over here for somebody to come by and buy 1 or 2 boards and complain about the price, it's not worth the trouble.
That's the same with the Douglas fir around here. It's got so much ring shake or just wind shake in it, and pitch seams that it's, I have to pay top dollar to get garbage wood, and I've just I've gotten frustrated. I just found a logger here recently that works state jobs, and he brings the big firewood logs home, and he's got a loader right there, and he sells them for firewood. And I'm getting better lumber out of the firewood that he's selling me than if I order a load of green logs.
Yep.
Why pay top dollar for a junk log when you can go to the store and get it, huh?
Yeah,
Going down to the 7-Eleven to go get a log. I'll be right back.
I get a better price
So-
for a junk log and
Yeah.
get wood out of it. It's all standing dead stuff.
But yeah, because we got a lot of ring shake, and then also we got the red rot in the hemlock. That's
No, the red rod is in the white pine and the ring
No, I'm in
shakes
the
in the
white
hemlock.
pine. Yeah, sorry, I got it backwards.
Ring shake is
I'm
in
tired.
the
Leave me
hemlock.
alone. I'm tired.
Yeah, we did the show this weekend at Boomville with the Hudson folks, and we had a good time. Anybody got a question about the Boomville show, feel free to ask. Had a lot of people stop by our table and talked with us. It was nice to have people come out and visit. A lot of people that we talked to in the comment section of our videos, we don't know what they look like, we don't know who they are, and then they show up. I'm so and so. Hey, how you doing?
Who is that? I have no clue.
Where was the show at? Is it upstate or what?
Yeah, Boomville,
upstate.
Boomville, New York, upstate New York.
Oh, okay.
We saw Jack Beckwith at Woodmiser. He came over and visited for a while. And
Zach from Log Right. He's going to be back on with us in November.
it was a good show.
Yep.
It was a lot of fun, but boy, we're tired.
Who's going to Daniel? Was it Daniel Boo's show this year?
Paul Bunyan.
Paul Bunyan.
Paul
Yeah.
Bunyan. Yeah, the
Anybody
one out in
going?
Ohio.
That's in
I'm
Ohio.
going to try everything I can to get up there. That's right in the middle of my work. I want to go for a couple of days. I think it'd be really interesting. I never even knew about that show until this year. I think it'd be neat.
But you're a pilot, aren't you, Neil?
I am. I work for
There you go. Start flapping.
Arms get tired.
What do you normally fly, Neil?
Cessna 182.
Private charter or?
No, I actually fish from an airplane, if that makes sense.
Oh, you got a float plane, huh?
No, I fly around and look for fish. That's my job.
No
No
kidding.
kidding.
That's what I do.
How'd you
Offshore.
fall uphill like that?
Yeah, we don't fly far offshore. We just fly long ways down the beach. It's a pretty neat job.
For commercial fishermen.
Yes, sir. We work from April to October, and then I get those 5.5 months off in the wintertime. It's seasonal.
What'd you think of my comment about bank left and going to those tall clouds?
I was a little further than it looked away from that thunderstorm, but we was right there at it.
I used to fly. I used to fly a Piper Cub.
No, I hear you. Yeah, they got them all around us out there.
Yeah, they're a fun plane to fly.
Heck yeah.
All right. So Alan says, didn't one of y'all buy a new wood miser, or at least
Let me see if I can
I
get these.
saw a video that looked like you got one this week. We
We
did
got one a
not.
few months ago.
Yeah, there's a fairly
Oh,
new
you guys, yeah,
Set right
bearded
behind us.
lumber. Yep.
Yeah, Eric and Matthew were the last
Anybody
ones
want to
getting
take
new.
over a monthly payment, I got them out for lease.
Oh, that's funny.
I ordered a new LT50 and I waited 2 years for it. And after 2 years of waiting, I got tired of waiting and I told them to cancel the order. And that was about the time things were going down for me anyway, so it worked out.
Well,
okay.
that's how we ended up with that one. My local dealer was watching one of my videos, and he called me on Monday. He said, "I seen you talking about upgrading." I said, "Well, I'm kind of planning on it in the future." And he said, "Well, I got an LT70 that we ordered in. Been trying for a month to get a hold of the guy. Can't find him. He's going on a truck going back to Indy next week." I said, "Well, sorry, sucker."
And I got my meal. As I guess the sawmilling was going down for everybody. A guy bought it and thought he wanted to mill, and he put 50 hours on the mill, kept it under his shed for a couple years, and gave it to me for pre-COVID price. It's a Timber King 2020. So I was good.
Yeah,
I got it back.
we would have bought a used 70, but you cannot find a used 70 electric. And the one I did find, he wanted 10 grand more, and I paid for a new one.
Yeah.
You know,
Eric,
That's crazy.
your dealer said he was watching your video. He wasn't watching. He was stalking you.
He was looking for somebody to sell that sawmill to, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, he saw a sucker coming.
yeah, he got me.
Yeah, I did.
If you're watching, Joe, appreciate it. We do enjoy it though. It was a big learning curve. We had some issues, but we're through them. It solves like a dream. You get what you pay for.
Yeah, I got a guy just north of me that found a guy that had an LT70 sitting in his garage. He was getting ready to sell his property, and it was a 2022, and it had an hour and a half on it. He got it for 63 grand.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I didn't want a diesel, but if I could have found one for that kind of deal, we'd have probably had
We'd have a diesel in here.
That's smoking.
Yeah.
But yeah, if anybody's watching, you're thinking about getting into this line of work, now's a good time. Get on Facebook Marketplace, get on Woodmiser used equipment. It's kind of hard to find, but if you get on Woodmiser's website and you dig down and go to the search bar and put in used equipment, it'll take you to another website, and they'll have a great deal of used equipment across the country at the local dealers that's available.
Yeah, I think John Chapman has that too, don't he, Rick?
Marketplace is still the best spot. I've seen mills here lately with 10 hours, 20 hours, 100 hours. People bought them and found out, hey, this is work. I don't want to saw every weekend. I want to go ride my Harley or whatever, or life changes. It's a good time to buy one or upgrade.
Yeah.
What'd you say? Wife changes
Yeah.
or life?
Not wife, life.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Someone probably did change your
I
wife.
thought you said wife changes. On what?
My wife's watching. You're going to get me in trouble.
Oh no, I didn't hear good.
So we were wondering about the carbide blades. I don't know if any of you guys run carbide blades, but I talked to Jack Beckwith about the carbides, so he sent us a couple to try out. And all the questions I had about carbide that nobody could answer solidly, I will have some solid answers for you guys by the time I break this blade.
Good.
Definitely.
I got a couple questions. I know carbides are cut nails, but half the time what we hit is not nails, it's screws or something harder.
Ditto.
And if you rip the teeth off of them, you just run $100 blade instead of a $40 blade.
Right. Well, right now, as it stands, the very first cut I made with this carbide, I ran into a cable shackle in the middle of a tree.
Mhm.
I cut the top of the hump off first, and not knowing that I hit the shackle, we went through the next time, cut through both shanks of the shackle, and then cut through the shanks again
2 more
before we
cuts.
got
Yep.
below it. 2 more cuts. We lost
Wow.
one tooth.
Yep.
We lost one tooth on the blade, but the blade is cutting just like it did when we first put it on.
Just like
I've run one carbide blade, and you can cut for a long time, especially in softwood. Say this pine, you can cut countless numbers of board feet, and that joker cuts. It's almost I ain't gonna say a sanded finish, but almost like a planed finish. I mean, that
Yeah.
joker is slick.
Yeah.
Can you resharpen them with your CBN wheels?
You got to
No,
have
you-
Mr. Robert Westfall said you got to have a certain wheel.
diamond wheel.
You either have
Yeah,
to have a diamond wheel or a very soft carbide.
Well,
Can
that's
be
what we
sharpened.
run on our Woodmiser setter is a CBN diamond wheel. Yeah.
Right.
If I had the ability to resharpen it, if you hit something and knock the tooth out wonky, you can reset it, resharpen it. I'd like to try them, especially if I could get 2,000 or 3,000 board feet out of one.
I don't know if a full profile wheel would get down into the gullet and hit the tooth just right or not. I'm thinking more of a flat grinding wheel like the Woodmiser or like the Woodland Mill sharpeners use.
I
Well,
think they're more
that's,
flat because you don't have a set or nothing. You're just sharpening
Correct.
that very
Right.
tip of that carbide. That is
Yep.
all. It looks just like a skill saw blade.
7 degree.
Now-
Yep.
Now I could tell you this: we've hit 9 nails since, and one screw, not a wood screw, not a deck screw, but like a regular
Zinc
like a
plated.
regular 10 quarter 20 soft screw. And we haven't lost any more teeth. It's still cutting like the day I put it on there.
Yep.
But the one thing that we have found that amazed me was Woodmiser only sells a 7 degree carbide. We are running our feed rate twice as fast than
I
we
got to get any faster, Matthew can't keep up.
Well,
I know.
Matthew, you better get in high gear, buddy. Another cup of coffee
our feed
Now-
rate.
Yeah.
or a
That sounds
monster.
like a good discussion for maybe next month to get Joe Main on here and sell us all on trying carbide blades.
Yeah. Well, nobody could answer the questions I had asked,
True.
and
Yep.
and Jack said, "I'll send you a couple blades, beat them up, let me know what you think." And I'm beating one of them up right now. I tell you,
I think your band would fail before your teeth do.
That's why he said, run it till you break it.
yeah, that's what Jack
Does
said.
anybody
He
know
said,
what kind of a standard cost is? I hadn't checked on them for our 195-inch bands. I know they're
All
high.
right, our bands are 167 inches, and they were $98.
Ooh, well, you're putting me in the $250 a piece range then.
Mm.
It better last a long freaking time.
We'll let you know.
Yeah, I'm not holding anything back. So far I could tell you I'm impressed. I'm super impressed with the feed rate. A 7 degree blade in that carbide, I'm running the feed rate twice as fast as I did with a 10 degree double hard blade.
In hardwood or softwood?
So far we cut a lot of softwood. We cut one walnut with it, and the feed rate's faster in the walnut too.
Yeah.
I'm just right now, as it stands, I'm super impressed. I'm not convinced it's worth our regular blades are like 25 each, and these are $98. So I'm not convinced it's worth
4 times the cost.
right because we could sharpen
Better
our
last at least 4
we
times.
could sharpen our double hards up to 8, 9, 10 times.
Yeah.
But I'll let you know. Like I said, we're beating this blade to death, and we'll see what happens.
All right.
You gonna
so
try
does
to run
anybody-
it till you break it, or you gonna
Yeah.
stop sharpening it?
No, he said run until you break it.
Right until we break it. We probably got 600 or so board feet through it right now.
On yours.
Nine nails, one screw, and a cable shackle.
Now,
And I thought through hardwood a 7 would drag, but it just plows right through the hardwood too.
Oh, no. 7s love hardwoods.
yeah,
Yeah.
seven green hardwood, pine, poplar, ash, hickory.
Ash,
I
yeah,
run
that's-
a turbo 7 in all of it. The only time I like to have a 4-degree blade is if I got dried locust or dried white pine, white oak,
Yeah.
Pecan.
Right.
or pecan. But as far as anything green, that Turbo 7 chews it up.
Now
So does anybody want to take that question up there from Alan?
Cooks,
What do we have?
great sawmill.
Never
is a great
seen one in
sawmill.
person.
Yeah, I've never ran one or seen one.
I like Timber King, but I've never put my hands on them. I just like them because I know enough people that run them and say they like them.
Who's that?
I definitely don't have any complaints from them. I've had a 1600 and now I have that 2020 mill, and I got I don't know, close to 2,000 hours combined between the two.
So Neil, do you have the emissions on that diesel or no? Was that
No,
pre-emission?
sir. I ain't got no emissions on it.
Good
The
for you.
one mill out there that I would like to run is a Baker. One of their bigger Bakers. They look impressive. Well, I've seen them run on YouTube, different things, but I've never been up close to one. I'd like to run one day.
Well, Baker used to have one with I think it was a 3-inch wide blade that had teeth on both sides.
Yeah. I've seen some
And-
videos of those things going. That's
The
crazy.
smallest Baker is bigger than an LT70, isn't it?
Yeah, their
They're
two
built like a
big
tank.
models are both bigger than the 70.
Yeah, they're.
And the price reflects it. You're well over $100,000.
Everybody on here better get more help. You start getting bigger.
Yeah.
All right, we got another
We're big
question
enough.
here from Phil Sawyer. What is the best degree for Eastern hemlock? Up until we put the carbide on our saws, we use 10 degree on hemlock, pine. Just about everything we cut, we used to 10 degrees. But hemlock is a little harder than pine. Eastern hemlock is a little harder than pine, but it's not a real hard wood.
We run before we got rid of our 35. We'd run a Turbo 7, and I kept two styles. I kept a 45 thousandths and a 55. I'd run the 55s on all our knotty pine, cedar, hemlock, yellow pine, Virginia pine, white pine, because the knots are harder than white oak. And you'd be sawing with a 45, fast as you go, you hit a knot and you go whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
By stepping up to that thicker blade, laser straight, fast as you want to saw it, until it got dull. But
Yeah.
as long as the blade was sharp, I hated to send somebody home with a board that's got a in it because it jumped over a knot.
I,
All right. So
One thing-
sawbucks. I don't have time to sit down with Rick's cutting anyway, so you don't have to worry about that.
yeah, I keep the saw moving. We don't
Yes,
play.
sir.
Yeah, the only one that gets to sit here is the old man. Yeah, he's got his nice comfy chair to sit right here and control everything.
I want to see butts and elbows moving.
Exactly. Okay.
All right,
so-
Alan Vincent's going to be leaving. Big Al Sawmill. We'll see you later. Thanks for joining us, Alan. Come on back
Yeah.
whenever you can.
John,
What
you've been
saw-
awful quiet.
Yeah, I don't know. Joseph's been supposed to come up here for I don't know how long he's been talking about he's going to come up here, but looks like he's running into some money problems now.
Life. He's running into life. You know how it goes.
Life happens. So, I don't think I could take the $100 carbide blade. You know what I mean? I think that'd be a lot to swallow.
Well, I'm gonna be truthful with you. They were like, here, take him, try him, tell me what you think. So if it wasn't for
right.
that, for that,
Y'all gonna make me call Joe Monday and say, "Hey, buddy, I want to try one."
We're not making you. You just do it.
I will tell you.
Blades about 4 years ago, and I basically switched to the bimetal blades because I could get them locally at a local shop, and then once I started using them, then I was finding out that I was getting on a new blade without if the logs were clean, I was getting like 6 hours out of them, and then each time I sharpen them, I would lose about an hour. So it just made sense. I was running 5 or 6 blades a day with the double hards, and that's a lot of blades to have to pay to have sharpened. And then once I got my own equipment, I didn't want to stand there sharpening them that long. So the bimetal blades worked really well for me, just because I use so much less of them.
Yeah, Craig Quilter is a big fan of the bimetal blades.
Yeah.
He cuts a
Well,
lot of.
I will tell you, with our new mill, horsepower makes a difference in how long you can run a blade. With our 35, 300 to 500 board feet, and you run out enough horsepower to pull a duller blade.
Yeah.
This mill here, if you're cutting good clean logs, pine, poplar, even some white oak, I'll go over 1,000 board feet, but I got enough horsepower to pull a duller blade through there without generating heat. As soon as you start generating heat, I don't care how much horsepower you got, you're done.
Yeah.
But
Right.
yeah, our blade changes are way down unless we're hitting foreign material.
You have a debarker, don't you, Eric?
Yes, sir. We run it.
Yeah.
The debarker don't do a darn thing when you hit a cluster of nails that big.
Or a bunch of little rocks or something, right? Oh, goodness.
Did that yesterday. We was trying to saw a log for a customer. He needed 19-foot stuff, so I couldn't shorten it. First cut in, I hit 3 nails.
Oh,
I'm like, well, that burned. So we rolled it over, cut the other side, hit 3 more. That burnt. Dug him out, turned it to 90 degrees to that face, hit 3 more. It's in the burn pile. I used the same blade. I didn't change blades because it was still sharp enough to make a clearing cut. I said, I'm going to see how many nails in here before I put a blade on.
And we was talking about money and talking about traveling jobs. I think this is a real good topic to bring up. That is one thing that needs to be clarified to a customer on a job. If you hit a piece of metal in the logs you are cutting, that is the full price of a blade, hands down, no questions asked.
that's the first thing we tell them. First thing.
I charge more than new price. I charge $50 a blade for every blade that's ruined. And if I hit a nail, the blade's ruined.
That's right.
Yep.
Well,
So
Neil,
you hit
now,
a nail, you're losing money because you got to stop, dig that nail out. You got to change blades, and then at some point you got to sharpen that blade, try to fix that blade, even if it didn't ruin it. So just the bare cost of the blade, you're still losing money.
Yeah.
well, Neil, now that we're running the carbides, the customer brings us a log. They usually watch us cut it, and we hit a nail. Dang, that's
We're
a
hitting 9
carbide
nails.
blade. That's a carbide blade. That's
Well, I mean,
$99.
you
Oops.
still that blade, that
And
blade
we
is still
can
better
still
off
cut.
not hitting that metal, no matter what.
See what I'm getting at?
I wish I had $1 for every time somebody said, I've lived here 30 years. I ain't no nails in that tree.
The customer told us
Well,
that the other day.
That's exactly what he said. He said, I
Yard
planted
tree.
this tree and I guarantee there's no nails in it. 9 nails and a screw later.
Yep.
I got a question here from Chris. I've not used carbide from Woodmiser. They're called razor tip and they only come in 7 degree.
Yep.
And
There's another
got it.
question down there. Won't know if we use handheld metal detectors. Every time I post a short or a video about hitting foreign material, I get hundreds of people. Well, you need to buy a metal detector. Well, how about you come out here and run it on these 100 logs we're going to saw today? Because
exactly.
Well, they only
And
go
then we're
so
going to
far
saw
too.
it anyway.
Yeah, it only goes so far anyway because the log gets dense. You're not going to find
Most
it.
of the nails we find in a tree this big
Yep,
are in the heart.
center.
Yeah.
Correct. Yep.
Or if you got a 24, 26 inch tree, I mean that it could be in the center and you're cutting just fine,
Right.
never touching no metal and think nothing about it. But 40 years ago, somebody put a nail in the first 12 inches of that tree, and then there you go.
Yep.
That's where we find most of them.
So-
Most time you guys saw wood. When you're taking your first flits, you try to get a half, 3/4, maybe even an inch. And you make a cut, it didn't hit nothing. You drop down, take another inch, bam.
Yep.
Yeah.
Boy, I like all your action packed there.
Oh yeah.
So
The worst one we've hit those on a mobile job. Guy had built a deer stand for his ex-wife, and had cut the tree down and forgot about it. and there was about 30 or 40 nails in one side of it. He got his own whooping twice.
Yeah, he bought a blade. He got his own whooping for nailing tree spikes in a tree.
Yeah.
He paid full price for that one.
All right. Let's see. One more question.
So-
Phil, if you contact us at our email, twobrothersOutdoors@yahoo.com, I will answer all the questions that you have. And I think you can if you have a charging system on your Oscar.
Yep.
But contact us at twobrothersOutdoors@yahoo.com, and I'll answer any questions you have. And our feed system is very simple.
Works very well.
And Chris is talking about, out of the woods there. Chris was talking about carbide.
Yes.
Where do you get them from, Chris? If you don't get them from Woodmiser, I know he says he gets them from what? He's got
Jerry's Resharp.
one from Jerry's Resharp. Jerry's selling Woodmiser blades.
Is he?
Woodmiser makes Jerry's blades.
The two we got are from Woodmiser.
Yeah, they're Woodmiser blades.
So I was just wondering. Yeah,
And-
Woodmiser makes a lot of the blades, and then Jerry's Resharp just puts their name
And
on it.
the only
Yeah.
only place I guess you get them is out of Indianapolis, John. They don't even have them anywhere else.
Yeah, Jerry.
Most
Jerry's
people
buying-
don't realize Woodmiser makes bands, but they also make rolls.
Right.
When
Still.
Joe Main worked for the other company, they
Right.
made their own bands out of Woodmiser rolls of bands.
Right, and that's what Jerry's
They
Resharp does.
custom make any length you wanted because they were starting from a whole roll.
Right.
But I like buying them pre-made. It's a whole lot easier. Hey, Joe, here's my credit card. Send me 3 or 4 boxes.
Well, Andy and Paul from Southern Adirondacks, they bit the bullet today and bought a box of 5. Didn't they say that,
Oof.
Tim?
Yes, they did.
Box of 5
5
of
carbides?
carbides.
400 plus dollars for 5.
But they got the show price on it. They got 20% off, so they did all right.
So
But I
I tell
hope-
you what, you guys know we attended the Woodsman's Days, and Rick set up a little display of bucket of stuff that we hit with our sawmills. You wouldn't believe the comments and the controversy and everything else that everybody was going crazy with the setup that, with the junk that we've hit in the logs.
It wasn't no
But-
controversy. It was just a lot of interest.
But a lot of people say that they hit those
Insulators.
isolators that the power lines used to use, and they said that's it. When they hit that, the blade's gone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that ceramic is hard on a blade.
Yeah.
One guy hit a beer bottle. A beer
beer
bottle.
bottle.
in the tree.
Yeah.
He said there was no
wasted beer.
sparks. The blade just wouldn't go any further.
But
I think
yeah,
my most interesting strike was a thermostat out of a vehicle.
Yep.
Well, the absolute worst I've ever hit was I hit a probably, let's say, 6-8 inch cobblestone in the middle of a tree. It absolutely destroyed my circle mill blade. And the teeth went right through the roof like a machine gun.
So,
what was that like $102 for that blade,
What's that?
for that circle mill blade?
$102. That's
Yeah.
$2,500 just for the blade with
No.
the teeth and shanks in it.
Stop it.
That was an expensive hit.
He says, "Stop it."
Stop it.
Oh man.
Ay, ay, ay.
On your traveling jobs, Kevin, did you ever charge a minimum?
I'm sorry.
On your traveling job, did you ever charge a minimum?
Yeah.
Depending on
Yeah.
how many logs they had or whatever.
Yeah, it was a 3-hour minimum.
3-hour minimum.
If I was in a reasonable distance, if it was, let's say, because old Jarhead, he had me come do some jobs over his way, which was about a 4-hour drive, and on those I would have charged an 8-hour minimum.
Right.
But
Well, I mean, I'm sure
That's not as bad as I thought, guys. That's right off Woodmiser. 5 of their carbides are $535.
For a
Right.
box of 5?
That's right off their website today.
No, I
Right.
mean that's for a box of 5.
Yeah, box 5.
Okay. But you
And
in
that's
the
your-
2 you got
I'm
the
not
2-inch
against-
bands,
listen,
though, right?
We're all hard headed. But I'm not against trying something if somebody tells me it's good.
No. I mean, that's what we ran up against, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying
Well,
to.
right now, I could tell you as a sawyer for a long, long time, I am very impressed with this stinking little blade. I could never fathom that the carbide teeth, even though they're carbide, hit a piece of metal, the blade would hold up and not let the tooth go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Have
the
you
teeth are
had
welded
any
on.
issue with what we call tiger striping or anything, or is it just
What in the-
blades
Yes.
straight?
You will get tiger striping if you're not going fast enough.
Yeah, you got. That's why we had to raise our feed rate. It's like
Had
when
to
we
get in there
first
and
cut
get
it. Yeah, when we first cut it, it did that. It looked like a Z pattern, and I told Rick, I said, "Damn, that looks weird."
And you
So
could
I
hear
said,
the
"Why
blade.
is it do? Yeah, why is it singing like that?" So he kept raising up, and the faster he went, the clearer it got, and then whack, hit that nail.
Yeah, you'll
I
you'll
thought,
run into
"Oh,
that.
that's it."
You'll run into that a lot with a Turbo 7. They need
Yeah.
to saw quickly.
Yes,
You know,
yes,
if you saw slowly, you're gonna get striations through there because you're just dragging the blade through too many times because it's
Right.
already cleared the hole. You just need to move on.
Right.
So,
Well,
so I
see-
told Rick, I said, "You know how a circle mill has the
Yep.
circle in the wood, so that'll be our new signature, the Z's."
I've had people get mad at me because I couldn't make that. I'm like, we don't let wood out of the building that looks that crappy. I said, the
Well, I
best I can
told-
do is go over and bend one of the teeth down and we can screw up a whole batch for you.
Right. Well, I talked to Jack about him extensively this morning, and he said that the carbide is a completely different type of saw blade because instead of the teeth aren't offset. The teeth are all straight, and they're like chisels. They chisel through the wood. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, so it don't have a three.
Yeah, there's
a
no
3-2
offset
set.
in the teeth. It's just
No.
like a skill saw blade.
Exactly.
So you never have
That's
to set
exactly
it
what it looks
You
like.
unless
never
you
have to set it.
knock
Nope.
it out of set.
Nope.
Yep. You can't knock them out of set.
Nope.
Well, if
And
you hit something hard enough, you can bend the tooth.
Or
Oh,
break it.
We took
Just
one
bend
tooth
that
off
tooth
with
back
that
in and
with a cable shackle. We took one tooth off, but we didn't know we hit it until we got
Yeah.
into the boards.
The
I'm
carbides,
gonna have to quit talking. I'm gonna have to call Joe and spend some money.
the carbides are all
Well-
hitting. They're all hitting at 90 degree into that log, and so there's no bending the teeth. You hit the
Well,
metal, it just either
I
goes
guess you
through it
don't
or
need to
busts it
set
off.
because
Well-
that carbide is wider than the thickness of the band.
That's right.
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 Rick
Like
did
someone
go
that-
to Rick did go to
Woodmiser's
length of
website.
one nail, John.
And they only offer it in a 45 thousandths thickness for my mill. If you go to 55, it's a 2-inch band.
Okay.
And for me to run a 2-inch band, I have to change rollers.
Oof.
So, a 45 thousandths band on my mill should last a long time because I'm running 24-inch roller, drive
Yeah,
wheels versus
exactly.
the 19s.
Exactly.
I'm not up against trying it. Joe, hang on. We'll call you.
Well, all I know is so far I'm impressed, and I can't say anything bad about him at this moment. I still
Well,
can't tell you. I can't tell you they're worth 4 times more than a regular blade, but I can say that I'm impressed with the blade at this point.
Well, we're
I can
just
see
like
what they would
everybody else
be,
here.
I
We
can
want to
see
saw
where
all
they'd
we
be.
can every day, but I want to saw number one quality first, and then quantity second.
I could see where on the since we was on the subject of the whole traveling mill thing, I could see where there'd be a benefit on a traveling job. That a way you wouldn't have to change blades so much on that job. I could see where that could be a benefit.
Yeah, and that's where I was with the bimetals. Instead of going through 5 blades in a day, I was going through 2,
Right.
and so that was definitely
Right.
a benefit.
And just talking to Mr. Robert Westfall, some of y'all have known him
Boy,
from the
you better
channel and
sawdust.
Thomas's channel. There
It's
is a
Scott
little
Dog
there
for
is
you.
a
Full
little
of
technique to sharpening those carbide blades. There's a little. He had to fool with it quite a while to get it down pat because it's a little different.
I could probably sharpen them on mine, but like you say, you just stay out of the gullet. All you want to
That's
do is
right.
hit the
You
face.
just touching
all
the
you want,
face.
all you want to do is just touch the face of the tooth. I would think.
cleaning the edges up. So all you're really doing is like a knife.
Yeah, you're just putting a new chisel edge on it. That's all. But I'm impressed with it so far. I cut an ash. It was just like butter, and I'm like, holy cow.
Was it swamp ash?
Yes, sir. Stinkier the better. Woo-hoo!
Nothing like a fresh red oak.
Oh yeah.
You know, it is about 95, humid, and my sweat it added right to it. I'm like, ooh, it was rank. Rick had to run out. Rick had to run out to the offcut pile quite a bit.
There's nothing like swamp ash.
I tell you what, guys, the only thing I've found worse than red oak is my kiln loaded up with green sweet gum, and the heat starts coming up on it. It'll take your breath away.
Oh,
You feel like you're in a sugar factory. It just overwhelms you.
well, not
Don't
all
go
the ash that we've cut has that smell, but man, some of it, it's just like it's just undescribable, and it's horrid.
Yeah, it is.
Kevin, I know you did most of your stuff was good night, baby. I know you did most of your stuff traveling at some point in time. Did you ever have calls to people just wanting to come to your house and buy lumber? Say your most, I don't know, most common call might have been 2x4 16s or 2x6s. Did you ever try to keep a stack of those laying around, maybe to fill an order somewhere or something like that?
No. I kept logs around. I try to keep a variety of lengths of logs around, and so I can make it. But the only thing I kept stacked up would be, side wood. If I was cutting beams, then I'd make some 2x6s off the sides, and when I get a pretty good stack
What
of
was your most common logs that you cut as far as what species?
Douglas fir.
Douglas fir.
Yeah,
There's
that
Mr. Craig.
that Ponderosa pine.
Right.
Hello, Mother.
Filter in here finally.
Hi, Mother.
Hi.
Hey, Mom,
Who is
We lost
that?
power.
We lost power. We're back.
I'm glad you let Craig come out to play.
He get all his chores. He get all his chores done.
Most of them. You still got a pretty long list. But
Uh-oh.
How much did it cost him? Because I know he couldn't behave all day, so you let him go play. He had to pay you off.
oh, that'll be later.
Go
Sorry.
Craig.
Greg, we've been waiting on you to get here. We've been talking about carbide blades, and you're the man that's been sawing them with them.
I love them. I wish I could afford to have them 24/7. I save them for special stuff.
How special has it got to be, Craig?
When the boss says he wants it laser flat.
Oh, have you're running the Wood Miser carbides?
Yes.
Razor tips?
Yeah,
Have you
they're
noticed it?
a 7 degree.
Have you noticed your feed rate has to be turned up?
Yeah.
That's not a very confident yeah.
Well, the stuff I'm sawing now with them, it's old dry fir, so I don't go too quick. But
Oh,
yeah.
you don't get the zippity doodah pattern in there?
no, the stuff I was
okay.
showing my
Yeah.
wife this morning, or making her come look at it this afternoon. I was cutting it. It was like I'd already put it through the planer.
Yeah.
Wow.
Speed up your feed rate. You won't have that.
No. I have. There's none of that chatter, dude.
Have you tried resharpening them on your sharpener?
Not yet. I've got two that are in dire need of it, but I'm running 3 of them. So not yet. That's on my list. Dan, your buddy Dan's been bugging me to sharpen for him, so I can tell him how I like it.
I was telling him earlier, Robert has sharpened a few for Thomas.
Yep, I've talked to Mr. Robert about it. He says just to kiss him, barely kiss him.
Yeah, just cleaning the edges up like you're holding a knife blade.
Right.
Yep.
Just kiss them a little bit and keep running them, sharpen them, running them until they break. Don't worry about the gullet or nothing like that.
Just like that, Craig.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been wanting to have Neil. I've been wanting to have Mr. Robert and Thomas at the same time on,
Right.
so
Well,
they
I can
could.
arrange for Mr. Robert to come on and talk blade sharpening one. One
Well,
afternoon.
yeah, I know. I've been talking to him, but I want Thomas there at the same time.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know when he's coming back down. I'll try to get in touch with him.
Yeah, okay. I know he went on a cruise.
You're right.
A cruise
But Robert,
must be more
Yeah.
money in sharpening blades than sawing lumber.
Robert's actually he's up there
retired
up
like
north.
he's retired like Greg.
Right. Yeah, he's
Well-
up north somewhere around the Great Lakes somewhere, I believe, with his nephews or something up there.
Okay.
Now,
Yeah.
Craig,
So
you've run these enough. Do you feel like they're worth the twice the cost of a standard blade?
yeah, because the stuff that I'm using them for, it's worth it. I save them for particular projects, like I said. But yeah, it's worth it. But
Not for everyday
it's not,
use.
yeah, it's not for everybody.
I know we don't saw much dry wood. You saw dry wood every day, but occasionally I'll get some stuff that's, a year or so old, and you can hear the blade singing coming through it because it is so dry. And that's what you deal with every day. Most of what we deal with is 40, 50, 60% moisture. Popper, you cut a board standing up in the corner and water runs out the bottom of it.
Yeah. No, the wettest stuff I've ever milled has been like 24 and 26%.
Oh, that's our dry.
Humidity
for us.
don't even get that low in the wintertime.
Yeah. I can hear a difference. The bands make a different sound in that dry wood, especially because first cut, I try to make my first cut. I try to take off as much of the biggest check as I can right from the very beginning.
We don't take checks.
COD.
Or
Have you
credit
hit any
cards.
screws with them? How they perform when you hit these case hardened screws?
I haven't actually hit anything that's been harder than what the band, everything I've hit's been soft. So I've actually only hit plastic with them.
Oh.
I had a walnut tree I milled that had some, come to find out they were injections that they'd given the tree when it was young. And in the process of doing that, they left a plastic shank in the tree. I didn't find that out until later.
This is what we get. These
Ooh,
come.
Yeah, that's ugly.
Yeah.
There was 6 or 8 of them in the last log we saw.
So
Now,
what
the blade-
happened?
you know,
I can
Eric-
cut them, but it don't do the blade no good.
Eric, you just bought that big saw. Maybe you ought to contact the guy you bought it from and say, hey, can you send me a carbide to see if I can try it?
I want to try a carbide on it. Yeah, absolutely.
Joe will send you some carbide.
Yeah, I'm gonna call Joe next week. Tell him I'd like to try. Like you say, not for everyday use, but for that special stuff. We resawed 30 or 40 Western red cedars this week. Something we don't ever get saw. That's stuff Craig sees all the time.
Yeah, I don't see it either.
I could carry 3 16-foot 6x6s if I could hold on to them. They were that light. And it would have been nice to have a carbide blade to get that super slick finish like this plastic table,
Yeah.
Because the Turbo 7, it does great, but it don't leave that super slick finish on dry wood.
Yeah, that carbide finish is definitely different than the regular bands.
So how much thicker are they? Are they any thicker?
No,
Well,
the
actually,
band,
thinner.
The kerf or the blade itself?
Yeah, with the kerf. Is the kerf
I think
thicker?
the kerf is about the same.
yeah,
I
it
think
would
kerf is
still
about-
be an 1/8-inch kerf on the 7 degrees.
Okay.
The markings are the same on my box tags. They just have a carbide CT abbreviated on the box on the stamp for carbide tipped.
Yeah.
So Neil, Wood Miser has that CN wheel.
Yes,
City on wheel.
they
I
yeah
agree.
they have wheels to sharpen the carbide.
Wood-Mizer does.
Yeah.
But it's not a full profile wheel, is it?
No, the profile of that band. I've sent you the picture, Rick.
Right.
I can
I
send you
saw
a
it.
picture of my CBN. Yeah, it's different.
Well, if you could buy them at $104 or $5 a piece in my case, and I could get 3 or 4 good uses out of it, then it's immaterial. But if I destroy it on the first screw, that's hard to pass on $100 blade to a customer that had a
That's where
oopsie.
we were. That's where we were at.
Yeah, no, you don't wanna have that carbide band as your exploratory band.
Yes, I do.
I know.
I want to know what that blade's capable of.
Well, you've got a pretty good idea of what that bait's capable of. I'll tell you right now, though, I ran into it today. My very first cut, I sagged probably half of an inch in the middle of a 8-inch cut, and it loses its sharp quick.
What's that?
So
The carbide?
yes, yeah.
Oh, when it goes off, it's done.
Well, yeah. Once it's done, it's done. I'll try to share a couple pictures. It was my very first cut today, and I was so shocked. I'd never had a band do that. I actually had sparks coming off. I could see sparks because it had made it was hitting into my my high speed guides.
Wow.
Well, that'll make you mad on you.
Yeah,
Make
luckily,
a ant and right in the middle of your perfect cut, you're gonna have
well,
to and then that
luckily,
blade does something
it was-
stupid.
Make you say some bad words.
Yeah.
well, no, luckily it was in the very last 16 inches of my first cut. So I was wondering if I had hit something and not hurt it, and it was it acted as if it had done enough damage that it wasn't going to make it through the cut. But
Well,
luckily,
So how many board feet had you get out of that one, Craig?
We've all used table saw blades, and they'll be sharp, and then all of a sudden, they're done. There's nothing you can do about it other than take it off, sharpen it, or put another one on. I guess the carbide band is the same way. As soon as it reaches that limit, it's done.
I had made close to 75 full dimension 2x4s, 12-footers out of old number 2 fir.
Okay.
So I had a good minute on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was kind of shocked that it was so abrupt. But
Now you gonna try to sharpen it, Craig?
yes, it's right there. It's gonna be the first thing I sharpen as soon as it rains.
I'm a firm believer dry wood is harder on a band than green wood.
It is
Oh, yeah.
because well, I have to control my lube miser, because I don't want my band getting super hot. Because if it gets super hot, I'm having to fluctuate my tension all the time, and I like to adjust my tension 2 or 3 times max and soft for a few hours.
Now, are you running a water lube or a diesel?
It's just water. It's actually, I've just switched to washer fluid. There's chemicals that help clean the windshield plus the stuff that I put in there. I just been using that. I use it in the winter so I don't freeze as well. But
We'll open up a whole can of worms with that. I've tried everything out there, guys.
I'm just saying I'm lucky not
Diesel.
to have to be using diesel.
Yeah. Well, your wood shouldn't have that much pitch in it to start with. You use it more of as a coolant and a lubrication more than.
No, both. Even the lube miser on my 40 is different than my 50 a little bit, and both mills, the lube miser, I can turn it up and up to where I can keep. I don't ever have an issue with my band getting hot.
Yeah.
Did you ever do any traveling jobs, Craig?
A few, but luckily I got busy enough to where I didn't have to.
And I think that's kind of how most guys start with a sawmill. I'll travel, then you get busy enough, people calling you, then all of a sudden it's not worth your time unless it's a pretty big job to even leave the house because people are still bringing you logs or you're cutting your own stuff at home.
Yeah, exactly. Usually it's for a couple of logs, and hey, it's not I'm not going to drive an hour to mill for 45 minutes.
That's right.
Right. So, Kevin, you say you're doing some landscaping now?
No, not necessarily landscaping. More of the rough excavation, putting in driveways,
I see.
cutting in home pads, stuff like that. In the
I'm just
septic
curious
system.
if there's a way to incorporate your sawmill into a landscaping job, like timbers and stuff like that.
Well, I've got a job going on right now that all of the trees that are coming off of it, the guy's giving them to me just to get them. He wants them gone.
Okay.
Unfortunately, most of it's ponderosa pine, which is the cheapest wood I can buy anyway. But the only thing I can make out of it that's sellable is one by material. So,
Okay.
and even that's kind of hard to sell sometimes.
So Mike says try spindle lube added to the water. Didn't Paul and Andy just get some of that, Rick?
Yeah,
Anybody
Paul and
want
Andy
some?
bought.
Yeah, we got 5 gallons sitting over there.
There's 5-gallon bucket sitting over there. It didn't work.
It does
Yeah,
not
Paul
work.
and Andy just bought a 5-gallon bucket of something to add to the water. I don't know what it was.
Spindle lube. Andy said spindle lube.
By far, diesel works the best for me with all this pine.
Yeah.
If you're sawing southern yellow pine, southern white pine, southern red or white oak, red oak, nothing will cut that crap, but just a little bit of diesel. And we don't use much, guys. We'll use 5 gallons every 2 weeks with this Lubemizer. Now, before I was using about 5 gallons a week, but with Lubemizer, 2.5 gallons a week. That's nothing. That's cheaper than washer fluid.
Yeah, I run the diesel as well. But I do have one species that diesel does not work on, and that's tamarack, the western larch.
Never,
I don't
never
know
saw
what
any of that down here.
I don't know what it is, but you get a 16-inch log, 16 feet long, and by the time you hit the 10-foot mark, you got so much sap built up on the blade, it just takes off. And
Let me try one thing. Try a squirt bottle of automatic transmission fluid, cheapest old ATF you can find, and just squirt it on there and see if that will help. Because it's better than diesel. It's just way too expensive.
yeah, when I get to the tamarack, I just drain the diesel out into the can and switch over to the old faithful water, pine sol, and dish soap, and that works on the tamarack, but diesel does not work on tamarack at all.
Must be reacting with something in it.
Yeah, it
I found one that the diesel wouldn't work on, but I don't think anybody else will ever have one of those logs. But it's a northern pecan. It's a totally different species than the southern pecan. It survives up here in like Minnesota, to have pecans, and there's not very many of them. There's one big pecan farm up north here that does the northern pecan trees, but it's a different species than the pecan tree. And
You can almost start a fight talking about lube.
and that diesel did not work on that.
I tell people, use what works in your area. It works for us. You do what does you.
What works for you exactly.
Yep.
Oh, I'm using diesel all the way, 100%. But
the reason
it didn't work on that pecan.
The reason I switched to diesel was when I moved to Idaho. One of the first mobile jobs I did, when I got there, my whole loop system was froze solid. And
yeah, that's another thing for you northern guys. Diesel, it will freeze, but if it freezes, you ought to be at home.
Yeah.
If it freezes, I'm gonna be.
One aspect that might be overlooked with that diesel fuel is it also takes a whole lot better care of your blades. When you put them blades up, they have a lube on them and a protection, and of course,
diesel don't cause rust.
That's right.
That 35 we had, the only rust on that mill was at the water tank where it had dripped water for years when we was using the water soluble. With diesel, it don't cause rust, and when you get tired of it, take the air hose and you blow it right off, clean your mill up, away you go. But there again, do what works in your area.
Yeah,
have a problem with the diesel,
I would agree with that.
Does anybody listening have any more questions on the traveling jobs somebody might could answer?
Or anything about,
It's
having a
definitely a
second.
good way to get into business, guys. If you're, I bought my mill in my
Thanks,
early
man.
40s as a tax advantage. My kids were all grown. Matthew's the last one moved out, went to the Army, and I wanted something to do. And I'd seen one and helped run one years before. I thought, that's something I could enjoy. And I bought one, and I've enjoyed it ever since. But mobile milling, you can't just go buy a mill and generate a sawmill business. It takes time. And the only way you can buy one of these and kind of be profitable right from the get-go is go do some mobile milling. Charge a fair rate, do good work, and go from there.
Yeah, get your name out there.
I just don't think we have the market here for mobile milling. I never see anybody ask. We have people that bring logs to us, but nobody's ever asked if we could come to their home and saw.
We recently had somebody reach out on Facebook yesterday, and the question was, "Hey, we have one pine tree down. How much would it cost to come mill that up to come so I can build this deck?"
It costs more than you bringing it to me.
I love the ones that call me.
First
need
off,
some
you're
pressure treated
not
lumber
going
to
to build
build
a
my
big, very
deck.
big
I'm like,
deck out of one pine tree.
Yeah, that's,
I gotta get that chainsaw
one
busy, right? Drop a few more.
Oh man.
Yeah, we had somebody call last week, wanted me to come take down a tree, and I told them, I said, that tree had fallen on their house. I said, we're not a tree service, I said, we're a sawmill.
Yep.
Well, it says you saw trees. I'm like, yeah, we saw trees. We saw them into logs into boards. Not. I couldn't get it through the head. We don't cut down. We don't come cut trees off of people's houses. We have a sawmill operation.
that's about as good as people that call you. I got a tree you can have if you come take it down. I'm like,
I get that call and I say, will it hit anything? Will it reach anything expensive?
That's exactly
Yeah.
right.
I tell them up front, these guys that get paid to cut trees, I get paid to cut logs. You get your tree turned into a log, then we'll talk.
Right. I just couldn't get it through her head that we don't saw down trees. We saw them into saw logs into boards. Well, it says here that you cut lumber. Yes, we do.
Yeah, that's.
Well, your next question should have been, can I
Most of them carry $1 million plus liability. I'm not coming to your property anymore.
Nope.
That's another reason I got out of mobile milling is the liability of being on their property. Now we do everything here on my property, and what you do at yours place is your business.
Right.
There's a good bit of liability going to work on other people's property.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean,
Yeah,
this tree was
especially
already.
What you
This
gonna
tree
do
was
if
already.
you got Joe homeowner out there helping you, and God forbid he has an accident?
Oh yeah. Oof.
Looking over here on the comments, was it Rasciano? He mentioned the mix will pack sawdust, keep it from sticking to the blade. Now we was talking about blades earlier. I have run into with the 1030 blades, especially with pine, sawdust packing in between your cuts and making your blade do crazy stuff also. And that could be due to running your lube too much and saturating that sawdust too much, and it's not being able to get it out of there. And if you don't know what's causing that and you don't look for it, it can drive you nuts trying to figure it out.
Speed up. Most of the trouble I've dealt with young sawyers trying to learn how to saw, they're going too slow. That mill, if you ask Woodmiser, you read your owner's manual, and it says, how fast should you saw? As fast as possible.
Yep.
That's Woodmiser's recommendation. Saw as fast as possible.
On my 1600 mill, when I was setting for a speed, I would just listen to the engine because I had a Kohler 25 on it. And I tell everybody I'd run it like a lawnmower cutting my grass. I would run it until I hear it loading up good, and that's me the speed. Now with the diesel mills and your bigger mills, you really got to pay attention to the blade. And if you start getting a tiny little wave, maybe back off just a touch, and kind of go with that.
Try running electric. The only thing
Right.
you hear is the
It's
singing
blade.
of that saw blade, and you have to listen to how that blade's singing, because you got no input from your hands because it's all electronic,
That's right.
and you got no audio from a motor. It's just the sing of that saw blade. And I have stuck it several times by overfeeding it because I wasn't listening to the sing of that saw blade and just hammered it in there too hard.
Oh yeah, I've just about stopped that 25 horse diesel a couple of times, but just pushing it way too hard.
Yep. But it's all a learning curve. I tell people all the time, I said, if you can walk and chew gum, you can learn how to run a sawmill if you'll just pay attention.
Don't be scared of work.
Yeah, don't be
That's the
afraid
biggest
of
thing.
failing. Get in there and
And
try.
that's the big thing. If somebody's listening that's thinking about getting into here, if there's days you say, you know what, I just don't know if I want to run this thing,
Then go do something else.
Yeah. Go swing a hammer for a day.
you
and come
don't
back.
just go casually cut. You know what I mean? You might go cut a little bit, but don't matter if you cut one log or 500 logs, it's work involved.
Yeah, we had a day this week. The first part of the day was just horrible. Just nothing wanted to feed, nothing wanted to work right. Attitude wasn't right. Come back from lunch. I told Matthew, I said, close the door. We're going over here and work on the truck.
That's exactly right.
You know,
I spent a lot of time in the residential framing from right out of high school, and it was I had a passion for the woodworking, but then once I had done it for a long time and started milling full time, I was like, boy, you know, this is it wasn't work anymore. You know what I mean? So
right.
if you know you're going to have a passion for it, then there's half of your battle.
I actually enjoy it, and with the job I do, there's so much noise all the time from just people talking in my head all the time, listening to radios and all this stuff. It's actually a wind down time for me just to run the mill and listen to the engine running and cutting wood. I mean, I really enjoy it.
yeah, on those days that it is thoroughly enjoyable. And we saw 5-6 days a week. Every day's not that day, okay? I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
Some days it's a struggle. Fighting this, fighting that, good wood, bad wood, whatever. But it's still enjoyable. Sometimes you have to back up and punt. Like my dad says, you know, when you're having a bad day, just go do something stupid like mow grass.
Yeah.
And, you know, just go mow grass.
Sharpen bands.
Or sharpen bands. I did that Monday morning. Matthew had an appointment. He wasn't going to be here. I got up, and it was pouring cats and dogs. I went down to the other building. I sharpened bands for half a day.
Yeah, I need to go ahead and get off of here.
Good
Okay.
to see you,
All right,
Kevin.
Kevin.
Thanks
Hey
for
man,
stopping
good
by.
meeting you,
Thanks,
bud.
sir.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. And
Thanks, Kevin.
Happy sawing, brother.
okay, thank you.
Later.
Bye-bye.
Do you click me out, John, or do
I can.
I? Okay.
He's wanting
He
to go,
give you the
John.
boot. There you go. He got the boot.
John, I can.
Well, Craig,
Right.
what was the malfunction? You fire out tonight?
Yeah, I had it was 10-2, but my wife was trying to get me in, and all of a sudden the fans just went.
You're drawing too much power. You shut down Heber, Utah, huh?
Yeah. I shut down the county for a little bit.
Oh, what was it this week? You sent me that screenshot. It was 94 degrees in Heber.
Oh yeah.
You've been melting, hadn't you?
Yeah, it's been warm, and if you notice my humidity at 19.
Oh, hush your mouth.
Oh,
See, Craig's problem is when it's
it
94
was
degrees.
95 and 110% humidity today. I don't want to hear it, sucker. It was so humid when I quit work at almost 6:30, went in the house. I said, something ain't right. I went back there, and the air conditioning had froze up from the humidity. I had to turn the second heat on and defrost my air conditioner to get it going back. I'm like,
Well, see, Craig's biggest problem is when it gets 94 degrees like that, he's got no oxygen to breathe because he's 7,000 feet above sea level.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and in the middle of the winter when he says it's minus 30, I'm gonna say, tough to be you, sucker.
It's still 60
Yeah.
here.
Exactly. Yeah, we're sawing in shirt sleeves, and you're out there shivering, and the wind's blowing. I don't think there's a tree between him and Canada.
There's a few. There's some.
You know, those days I go out there and I don't feel like milling, I just sit for a little while and my phone would ding sooner or later because Craig will text me and then I have something to do.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Just trying to keep you honest.
You know them days that really you if you cut every day, there's a lot of times that a lot of stuff gets overlooked on your mill. That can be a good day to just do a routine check on your mill. Check everything, grease everything, double check your blade levelness. You know what I mean? And you can tinker with that and not cut, but still be very productive around the mill.
I usually wait till I hear that bang and then I start looking.
Wait till parts go flying. Yeah.
What the heck was that?
But
it was Tim's
preventative
fault. I
maintenance.
don't care what it was.
Yeah.
I hear that bang, bang, clang, 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 and then next thing I do, and I'm calling Hudson. Hey, John, I got a problem.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy. If you run them long enough, you break a lot of stuff.
I guarantee it. Guarantee it.
So Neil, when are we going to get you into the full-time gig?
Full-time sawmilling?
Yes, sir.
Man, I'm gonna swing harder at it this winter than I've ever have.
Attaboy.
With me
Attaboy.
doing the tongue and groove and stuff now, it's I'm further along than what I was, but I got a long ways to go to be able to take over my income now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I mean, it's still a very lucrative of what I do, even part-time. And I say part-time, I mean, you still cutting 4 or 5 days a week doing what I do. I still have time to cut almost a part-time job plus the full-time job and doing it.
Well, you would
Are
think.
you
Sir.
flight restricted on how many hours a day you can be in the air?
No, sir. I was there for a while. We were flying 9-10 hours a day. And the way we're doing shifts now, me and another guy swap out. So I'll go fly 7.5 hours on one leg, and then I'm done for the rest of the day. So I still can cut sometimes I fly in the morning, sometimes I fly in the evenings. So either way, I have to just schedule, and I think that's a big important part of any sawmill business is keeping a tight schedule on how you're milling. So I'll cut one day, and I'll cut till dark or whatever, get me enough wood to put in the kiln. While that's drying, either cut some more to air dry, and then another day I'll come over here and then I'll start running material on the shapers and things like that, and just it keeps a steady workflow instead of me like, oh crap, I got to put wood in the kiln, I ain't got nothing done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that kiln will sneak up on you, especially when you're running pine. I
That's
like
right.
to put a batch of hardwood in. I get a 4 or 5 week break.
Right. But you running pine, I mean, 7
It's
to
every
10
4
days.
to 7 days.
Yeah, I mean, in mine, I ain't running as the equipment y'all running, but 7 to 10 days, it's ready to come out, and you ready to stick another one in, and you done got behind because you hadn't cut any to put in there. Now your kiln's empty, and then you're I guess really losing money.
Oh yeah, you want that thing? You're paying. It's there. It's a piece of equipment. It's there to
That's right.
run. If it's not running, it ain't making no money.
That's
Let
it.
me ask you both this. What would you both do if you could skip the kiln process altogether?
Come live where you are.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
He don't have to dry wood. His wood is dry. Craig's
Yeah.
wood is 7% standing.
Yeah. And he's
Yeah.
not dealing with any hardwood with bugs in it. He's dealing with softwoods that,
Just needs to be dry.
well, once it dries out, all your bugs evacuate because they
Yeah.
can't
Oh yeah.
live.
Yeah. Any bugs that were there, they were there, but they've been long gone.
Yeah, so
At 7%, there's nothing for them to eat. They got to have 20-30% moisture to
Where
survive.
me and probably, I guess your EMC where you are, Eric, is probably what my around here is like 14%. That's
Yeah,
I mean,
if I
that's
went,
as cold as it's going to get.
if
Yeah,
I went
mine-
and stuck
I'm
the
a-
wood in
I'm
my
a-
house today, it'd probably be 14-15%.
Yeah,
I'm at 4.
and see
Yeah,
now, and we're
you
cutting
keep
our
that
trees.
in your
I mean,
pocket.
I'm looking at 60 and 70% moisture on a green log.
Oh yeah,
You can't let it sit out. Humidity so high, it's just going to get ate up by bugs or rot. And I mean, it can't stand and do what yours is doing. So
I
it would
used to cut green lumber and worried about keeping it in the dry, and all I did was create mold.
That's right.
Now I cut green lumber and I set it out here, let it get rained on, let the wind blow on it, and I don't have a mold problem because our humidity is so high, the wind will kind of keep it moving in and out until you get it dry.
That's
in
the
kiln.
only way. Even cutting it green, sticking it out there in the wide open and putting metal on it, has been, especially in our rainy season, last month and a half. It rained for about a month and a half every day. You can't. It's going to grow mold sitting in the sun, like in between your layers.
I was growing mold on me today. It was so steamy.
I mean, you just about have to cut it and put it right in the kiln and turn your dehumidifiers on to go ahead and pull the moisture out, and then start all your heat process to try to get it to where it won't stink in mold.
Yep. Yeah. If I'm cutting something that they're going to use without a secondary process, if they're going to use it rough, I would a whole lot rather cut it today and stick it in the kiln tomorrow and start sucking the water out of it and not fight the mold.
Right. Exactly right.
On pine species.
Right. Yeah. Pine. I mean, that's pretty much all I cut is softwoods. Hardwoods, that stuff right there can be so finicky. You'll bust that junk all to crap a lot of times.
If there's
Hardwoods
anybody,
are a whole different animal. I do a bunch of hardwoods, and they're fine to work with, but you got to have two different personalities. Pine, I'm Jackrabbit. Let's get it done. Hardwood, I'm a turtle. We're just going to work our way on towards it.
The best process I've seen with that is cut it and let that junk air dry for a few months before you stick it in there, if you have the time.
If you have the time, 2 months of air drying will take you a 60% white oak to mid 20s, and then you still got 3.5, 4 weeks
right
slow pulling the water out of it.
You'll have a whole lot better quality, and you will lose less product.
I don't know. I'll disagree with you. I don't see quality being a problem as much as time.
Right.
I tell people all the time, they'll ask me, is my wood going to split? I said, I don't know. I didn't grow it. Good wood don't split. Crappy wood splits.
That's right.
You can paint it. You can anchor seal it. You can do whatever flip you want to it. If it's got
stress,
it's
got stress.
It's got stress, and it's going to split. If it's a beautiful straight growing tree and it wasn't laying out over a hill, it ain't got no tension, and it won't split if you don't do nothing to it.
Right.
Yep. Because I can take you in my kiln, because I can walk around both sides of it, and I can show you the end cut on every log, and a couple here narrow split.
That's
and there ain't nothing I could have done to stop that.
No, you're going to
It was
lose
just internal tension.
That's right.
if there's anybody out there that wants to throw some statements out there or ask a question, feel free right there in the comment section. We're just kind of idling along right now, talking amongst ourselves. But if you got a question about anything,
Yeah, I got some walnut customer dropped off the other day. It's growing branches. It's got enough moisture in it still that it's putting out sprouts. That happens in the South, right?
I guarantee it does.
You won't see it on pine trees, but if you get some walnut, maple, stuff like that laying on your yard, they got enough moisture in them that you get 80, 90 degree weather.
I had some poplar growing mushrooms, and there were leaves sprouting that knew which way up was.
That's one good thing. I
the
guess
logs were laying horizontal in a pile, but the leaves knew which way up was.
I went and got a load of cypress today. I'm fortunate enough to have a little small pond. I use it for my log hole pond for like cypress and stuff. I just come home straight from the trailer, throw it in the pond. When I need it, I pull it out to keep them logs good. Keep the bugs.
That's cheating there, buddy.
Yeah, that works good.
I got some poplar in there. I got a few different species, but it's mostly my Atlantic white cedar I'll throw in there, and then my cypress trees.
We're definitely on both sides of the spectrum.
Oh yeah, I
You ever
guarantee
have any problem with those logs sinking on you? Or they pretty well float.
That white cedar floats like a boat. Now that cypress, it'll go to the bottom. Now this thing ain't probably 3/4 of an acre big, and I mean you can get
kinda
around it. I
rotate
could probably just about walk around in it. It's probably 4 or 5 foot deep, so there's logs on the bottom in there, but I know they're not going anywhere.
They're sinker logs.
Yeah, now they're sinker logs. Just jack the price up, right?
They're worth more. Yeah, they're worth more.
Well,
There you go.
Funny in it. In my area, I get people calling me wanting cypress. I'm like, you do realize that stuff does not grow in Western North Carolina.
Well, I tell
You
you
need to
what,
go down there.
there's some guy. I got all my families from over there in Morgan City, and man, they got so much of that junk laying in the bottoms of them rivers and canals in Louisiana. I got a cousin of mine. He said, "Man, I know where they're at. I know where the pile is under the water. All you got to do is get down here, and we'll get them."
You want to get out of that airplane, start selling some sinker cypress, buddy.
It's there. It's there.
You probably north of $10 a board foot on that kind of stuff.
That's the last time I checked. There was a guy that come bought some. He come bought some of that Atlantic white cedar to build a door, and he has a bunch of it, and that's what he sells. That's all he sells is that sinker cypress, and he come over here and bought some of that, and that's what he said he gets for it, $10 a board foot.
Wow.
He bought some of it that you had laying on the bottom of the pond.
No, he bought. No, he didn't. But that Atlantic white cedar, I cut it some posts for a guy, and it was some cutoffs, and they were 2 inches by the various widths, and he was building a door and wanted something real light. That stuff is unreal light.
Every market's different. That's why I try to tell people, you got to find what works in your area. You know.
That's right.
And you don't do that overnight. It takes years to figure that out.
Right.
But I'm surprised you're here, Greg. You're not up downtown Utah at the Diesel Dave sale?
No, no, he doesn't have anything I need.
Oh, you got some big 4-wheel trucks. I like that American bus. That looked good parked out there on your compound.
Yeah, he doesn't have anything I need. Yeah, he got in trouble. He got in trouble, and they had to shut him down.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, so it didn't last very long. I think it lasted like one day.
Oh my goodness.
That's too funny.
There's a piece of that cypress right there. See that?
Oh yeah. Looks like the bugs have been there.
Oh,
Yeah.
That come out of salt water right there. I don't know where. It's almost as light as balsa wood. You would have to use it for an epoxy table, and that is it.
I did a job down in Moab, Utah, about 10 years ago, and some of the project, the owner had got some. It was from the old salt trestle from the Great Salt Lake, and that stuff had been underwater for 60-something years, and it was almost petrified.
Well, see, you look at it on this side, you can see it. It smells like gunpowder. It really does. You see how it's got the white stuff in the things? That's from crustaceans going in there and putting there's like a shell that was in there. Wasn't a bug. There's just some creatures in the salt water that did all that.
Now, is that hard on your saw blade or just not even noticeable?
It's so paper thin. The only way when I cut that was on my 1600 mil. I was fairly new at cutting at the time. When I laid, it was super wet, of course. I didn't let it dry no amount of time. I got it. When I had to put a dry 2x4 or a dry 2x however tall up against the exhaust side of the blade when it come out of the log to clean the blade, because the wood fibers and stuff would just wrap around the teeth and it wouldn't cut them.
Oh, so you had to have a sacrificial board.
That's right. So every time it would come through that hard board, then it would clean the teeth off, because that blade would go through there and have them fibers wrap around it, and then it would dive and do all kind of goofy stuff. It took me a couple passes to figure it out, but that is the only way I could cut that board, that log.
Well,
Because
you wasn't cutting much. There wasn't a whole lot left there.
No, there's not. But there was no integrity, I guess, so to speak, to the wood. It was soft.
It
And
pulled the
even that
grain right
there,
out
that
of
thing
it.
is 5 feet tall, and then, I mean, my little girl could pick that thing up and flop it, and it ain't nothing to it.
That's what I thought about sawing that Western red cedar this week. I think a 16-foot 6x6. If I could get my hand around it, I could pick it up.
Right. Yeah.
Tim, that next
So-
question.
Yep. Go ahead.
That's a true statement there. I can't pronounce his name, but
Come on, Craig, try.
that's a
Ratio.
yeah. I've used a lot of bimetal and have had awesome success with those as well.
How about with nails?
Yes, smaller nails. As long as what you're hitting is softer than the blade, it's not going to phase the blade.
Okay.
With the experience I had with the bimetal, I had went through hundreds of small nails that they had actually tacked fabric to the log walls back in the 1800s, and I was cutting through all those little nails that hadn't been pulled. So I was going through a lot of them. That's how I got set up with the bimetal with Joe. As my customer brought me the logs, I was like, dude, if you want to spend the nickel and buy the box of bands for me to cut your stuff, I'll cut it for you. But I'm not using my stuff. So that's how I got set up with Joe and doing the bimetal right off the bat. And I ended up using those for quite a bit. They actually worked really well.
What you doing, Craig?
What's up there, young man? You minded your mom and pops?
You need.
There he is.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just looked on the Woodmiser webpage. You can get 10 blades bimetal for the same price you can get 5 blades carbide. So they're half the price.
Yeah, if I remember, I was like right $42 a piece for a bimetal band.
Yeah.
So they were a little bit more, but they weren't nearly what the carbide was.
I'm curious on how many board feet I can get out of that carbide blade out of pine before it would go dull.
Yeah, if you
Just
could get
kinda-
2 or 3 restarts out of it,
And see how many.
everybody's
board
gonna be
feet-
calling Joe Monday.
Yeah, I was texting the same thing. Hopefully, dude, we're gonna get you some. Hopefully, we're gonna get you some freaking carbide sales on this.
Right.
It'll be good. The bimetal bands they're super durable, really durable. But like you guys say, everybody's in different wood, so all we can do is kind of collaborate with each other. And 99, like you guys said, 99% of the stuff I'm in is super dry wood, so it's a little bit different. I attack the wood a little bit differently as I'm sawing, as you guys do. I slow down for knots. Other than that, it's the same speed.
Well, it's nice to know the options and what you're looking at with the different options. That's what's nice.
Yeah. Like you guys doing, where that they sent you that band, wear that thing out, and just kind of do a mental log of what you went through, and
Right.
kind of go from there. And then I just save them for when the boss says he has some stuff he wants super flat. And
Now, are you super pleased with the finish of the carbide versus a regular blade?
yeah, I'll get some pictures, but boy, it was like the 2x4s I cut, it was like they'd already been through the planer.
Wow.
That's my experience. I cut red oak with the one I had. I cut red oak and some cherry, and it's just like you planed it. I mean, it's slick, smooth. And I did talk to Joe one time several months ago when I was trying to figure out what blades I was going to use. I use them 739s now. And he said, like cutting pine, that the 739s would probably be the way to go over that, because I would have a band failure before the teeth went bad on just cutting pine with that carbide blade, because it's not hard enough to really make you know what I mean?
You're not stressing out the tooth
at all.
When you were running them, did you notice, when you're sawing pine with a turbo 7, you get that little curl comes out. on the
Yeah,
outfit
on the
side.
yes, on the side. Right.
Did you have that with the carbide, or was it just?
I didn't ever cut pine with that carbide blade to
No.
see.
You won't get that with carbides.
Yeah, because I always get those little
with the
pig,
drywood.
pigtail curlicues on pine because we're sawing so fast.
Right.
It just pulls them right out. When you dry them, they fall off. It's no big issue. It just don't look as good as a crisp square corner.
I'm gonna go take a couple pictures.
Okay,
Hurry up.
ask mother for permission.
Yeah.
It's still daylight out there where he is.
Oh yeah. Yep.
It's only 7:00 in his time zone.
Right.
He's just getting started.
Yeah. We
Looks like we lost John.
oh. He'll be back.
Well, he said he was having some weather issues earlier.
We're about to. Yeah, the
He
storm
got
rolling in
booted
on
out.
us right now.
Well, we switched over to Starlink, and unless it rains like you can't see to walk, we don't have any problem anymore.
Seems like everybody's getting a little storm trouble. We went through a little summertime thunderstorm down here a while ago. Pulled under overpass because it was hailing and blowing about 50.
Well,
Just
we've been getting it.
red dot on the radar.
It come from you right up through Alabama and
No, mine was going
Atlanta.
south. You ain't gonna blame me on that one.
It all starts down there and just rolls this way.
Yeah, that's it.
And meanwhile,
Hot air.
we're drier than a popcorn fart here.
Yeah.
Right. I don't guess that little predicted storm coming up next week or whatever is going to affect too many of y'all, huh? It means y'all get a little rain off of it.
Nah, I've been here my whole life, and the only bad hurricane storm we had was Helene last year, which was ungodly, and Hugo back in the early 90s. It come straight through Myrtle Beach, marched its way up to Charlotte, and we got hammered pretty hard as far as rain. Now Helene was different. It rolled straight up, never slowed down.
I think one of y'all spoke about what what he's got on the screen right now about the silica content with that red cedar dull blade very quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hickory and pecan around here.
Hickory and pecan have some kind of a form of silica that gets pulled up into the wood, and it's super abrasive. It just wear the tops of your teeth off a whole lot quicker than any other species around here. If I'm sawing today using 3 blades and I saw hickory tomorrow, I'll use 6, maybe 7.
Best to wear a respirator when they got all that silica in it.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Or use a vacuum system, get that stuff sucked out.
There you go.
All right, Craig. Come on, Craig. Where are you here? Come on.
Oh, we're about to not be able to hear.
Yeah, we're getting ready to get some rain.
Oh, John lost power, and he said that he is got no internet right now.
Uh-oh.
See lightning at Craig's house still.
Is that lightning, or is his mother watching TV in the back room?
No, it's every so often I see it. Looks like lightning.
I wish we'd get some rain. We got no rain here in almost all summer now.
We've had plenty. I've been waterlogged for the last 2 or 3 weeks, and I have to remind myself I'd a whole lot rather be wet than you boys being dry, worried about rubbing your feet together and starting a brush fire.
I know it. Well, they got no campfire signs on the lakes right now down in the water.
Makes my logs last a little longer too with all that rain.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It keeps the bugs out.
All right, Craig, did you get some pictures?
I did. John says he's offline, lost power.
Yeah.
I tried sending them to Tim. I don't know if Tim can share those or not.
What's that?
Pictures?
Yes, sir.
Well, you can send them on the group chat, Craig.
Let's see.
The Sawmill chat.
Yes, sir. I
And
just sent them.
everybody can see them.
Yeah, we're all on it. Just send it out. There they are.
There we go.
Oh, man. That does almost look like you planed them already.
Oh, I know.
I
And
can't
so
believe
my
you can,
box says the 7 degree, which means I guess that tooth is welded onto that band to mimic a 7 degree pattern.
okay.
Yeah.
And
But all
again,
that material, all that dug fir, all that material had sat at the lumber yard for at least 4 years. So I'm offered up that material after it's been there for 4 years and not purchased. And then I'll be able to purchase that for a certain price, 4 years later.
and again, before anybody just runs out there and goes and spends $100 on a carbide blade, it may not be feasible for the wood you're cutting. Like me, I don't think it would be feasible for me to go spend $100 on a blade just to cut pine.
Right. Unless it lasted forever.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're gonna break the band. So we don't have Timber King don't have the 24-inch.
Yeah. So Neil, you would the bimetal band would be your best friend. Your bimetal band would probably be where you could they would double or triple the length of the time that you run your 7s.
Right. Well, I might have to try some of those.
Yeah. You can.
Now,
You can see,
what's your wheel diameter? About 19 inches?
I think they're
18,
19s.
Yeah, we had that problem with our 35 running the thicker bands. They wouldn't last 1 or 2 resharpenings, but I got such a good cut and cut so quick, I didn't care.
Right.
I got my money's worth out of 3 resharps, and
if I could get 24, if I could get the big wheels on there, I would do that and run 55,000 blades, especially with this knotty pine.
I run them on mine 19-inch wheels.
Right.
And I lowered the pressure.
Right.
I used a strain gauge because my 35 had that stupid little rubber thing.
Uh-huh.
And we'd set them with a strain gauge, 45,000, it's at 21,000 pounds of stretch. And when we run the 55s, I'd set them at 14,000 pounds of stretch.
Right.
And we got good service out of them. Like I say, most of them would get 3 to 4 resharps before they'd break the band. But we were sawing so much quicker, so much flatter, and so much happier with the end product. It didn't matter if it costed more.
Well, here's the thing with that. I'm a one-man operation. I don't know how fast I want to saw. So I gotta have a break. I gotta have a break from unloading wood.
What you talking about? You got off bears in that house. I seen them running around.
Yeah, well, he loves to drive the tractor. I got that tractor. He keeps the mill loaded, logs moved, scraps moved, and that just means I got to cut more. But Timber King's got the PSI gauge when you tighten it down, and I tighten it to, on a cold blade, it'll be 1,300 PSI. Once everything warms up, it'll be at 1,200, and that's what I cut at.
Well, you need to talk to Timber King and tell him you want to try a thicker band. What would they recommend for a tension level? Because it would be less. You don't need near as much tension on that 55 as you do a 45.
Thomas will answer all those questions for you.
Right.
For sure. We've already done the collaboration between the Wood-Mizer tension and your tension.
Right.
And that was all based on just the way that each mill tensions their mill.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So that's what that boiled. Gary was all interested in. Hey, well, why? Well, that was sparking, Thomas to go. Well, yeah, why? So that's when we started figuring out why Timber King said that range versus Wood-Mizer at 3,000 psi.
Right.
All right, guys, we've been on for 2 hours. We're going to try to cut this at the 2-hour mark tonight. Is that okay with everybody?
That sounds great to me.
Yeah, I've had a full day, guys.
It's been a day.
Sorry you're late, Craig, but you
I know, darn it. Well, you guys had a long 2-hour drive, a couple days in a row, darn it.
Yeah.
I'm feeling for you, darn it.
We had a good time. It's just tiring.
Yeah,
good.
Had a blast.
Well, yeah, you're not gonna hurt my feelings. I got the Broncos on.
Yeah.
Try to behave before the next one of these, Craig, so Mom don't let you come in late.
Right. No, I'll have everything. I'll have all my wood stacked.
We did have one of our subscribers stop by and he tied us some flies. I don't know
Oh,
if you
wow.
see them. Tied us a bunch of flies and dropped them off. I got a gift for you guys.
Are those like wet flies or dry?
They're
Dry.
dries.
They're dry.
I like fishing dry.
Attaboy. Jim, he likes the wet flies. I seen him on that video way
I
down.
like them all.
He was using wet flies in there. I saw that.
Whatever
Little
works is what I
streamers.
use. Yeah.
All right,
I'm not
guys.
picky. Whatever the fish will eat.
That's it.
That's right. All
Thank
right, we
y'all for
appreciate
stopping in, everybody.
We appreciate everybody
Hey,
that
yeah,
stopped
good
in.
seeing you guys.
Thanks a lot for stopping by.
Yeah.
We'll see you next one, the third Saturday of the month, 8:00 Eastern Standard Time. You guys just hang in there for a minute when Tim shuts it down, and we'll kiss each other goodbye.
All right, everybody.
Good night,
Have
Jim.
a
Bob.
good night. We'll see you later.
Everybody.
We want to thank everybody for stopping by the show tonight. And remember, it's the third Saturday of every month that we all gather and on the show. See you later, guys.